friends, welcome back to my channel. I was recently sitting down at my vanity thinking about like recent favorites, and then I also thought about a request that I had to do more of a like drugstore favorites roundup. And I have to say, a lot of my makeup routine is drugstore based, and there are a lot of things that I have recently rediscovered or things that I've been using for a while that I really like. So I rounded them all up into a box. There's a lot of them. So we'll go ahead and jump right into it and talk about the drugstore I use in my pretty regular makeup routine. So the first thing we'll start with is sort of like a base product that I use, and that is the No. 7 Instant Illusion Wrinkle Filler. I consider No. 7 a drugstore brand because I can get it at Walgreens, Target, or Ulta, and while this stuff tends to be on the pricier side, I can't live without it. It is a wrinkle filler, and where I put it is right underneath my under eye area before I do my foundation. It is basically a way that I can fill in my fine lines, and ever since I've been using this and baking underneath my eyes, I don't experience any under eye sinkage, which I normally used to have chronic problems with, and it would look so bad. And everyone would say like, oh, try this concealer or that concealer, but it didn't matter. It didn't matter what concealer it was until I had this stuff. So now I swear by it. If you're someone who has fine lines underneath your under eye area and you have sinkage problems with concealer, and I would run, not walk, to go pick it up. The other thing that I have loved for a really long time is from Physicians Formula, and it is a concealer twin. I have used multiple versions of this. They have the green corrector one, they have the yellow one. I think that there's a third one too, but I like this one the most. I find this is really helpful for doing what I call a sandwich technique. What I typically do with this is I will do a little bit of the regular concealer shade over like a red area, and then I will bring in some of the green and I'll put my foundation on, and then I'll come back and I will do another splash of this stuff, and it really helps cancel out redness. I have sworn by this stuff for years. It's really the only concealer I use at all on my face aside from my under eye area, because I prefer something brighter underneath there, but for covering up any spots or blemishes, I really have found that this does the trick, and so I definitely recommend them. CVS especially runs really good sales with Physicians Formula, where they'll often do like a spend $15, get $10 back, or spend $20, get $10 back, spend $10, get $7 back. And so I never have to pay full price for this brand, even though it can be pricier at the drugstore. It typically is always on some kind of sale. The next things I have are two mascara besties. The first is a mascara primer. It's the L'Oreal Voluminous Lash Paradise Primer. This stuff is awesome. I have tried some high-end lash primers, and I was hooked on those for a while until I found this. The stopper in this one is not the most effective, so as you can see here, I tend to get a lot of product on the brush, and it requires a bit more maintenance than I would like, but I don't know if it's just this one-off one or if it's all the lash primers that come from this brand, because this is only the first one I've ever purchased from them, but it is life-changing, and I love it coupled up with the CoverGirl, the Supersizer mascara. It just, the two of them work really well together, and they create really long, voluminous lashes without making them too heavy or crunchy. So I would definitely recommend the two of these together. And again, typically always at CVS, where I get a lot of my drugstore makeup with coupons, there's always some kind of sale happening, so I would definitely wait for one of those and then grab these. Continuing on with eyes, I have two eyeliners that I really love. They both come from NYX. The first one is the NYX Wonder Pencil. You guys have seen me try to pan this for, I think, the last almost 2 or 3 years. This just lasts forever. I use it in my waterline. I like it to help really brighten up my eyes. Anytime I tend to do like a darker crease, my eyes can look really small real fast, especially when I use black eyeliner on top of it. But this just really helps make the difference in helping my eyes look a little bit bigger and brighter and whiter. So I'm a really big fan of this. Along with that, I really have loved the NYX That's the Point black eyeliner. This liner is tiny, but I really like that because it gives me the ability to have a really precise, thin line with very little effort. Or if I want to do a bigger line, I can do that, again, with very little effort. I thought at first this would really get used up really fast because the point is so small and I tend to have a pretty thick line most days, but it has just held on very strong. And when I had gotten this, it was just because CVS was doing like a really ridiculous deal on the NYX makeup, and I'm so happy I came across this because it has been a huge eyeliner game changer for me. Another eye product that I have that I think is a really good deal is the Maybelline Single Shadow in Linen. You guys know I love a cream eyeshadow. I tend to pack it like all over my brow bone area, my crease area, and then I do the rest of my shadow. I snagged this because I had a $3 coupon, like just $3 coupon off Maybelline, and these were like $3.50 or something at CVS, so I got this for 50 cents. And while I can't speak to all of the shadows, and while I don't think the fact that I only paid 50 cents for it makes a big difference, I think $3.50 for this would have been worth it. This is just a really nice payoff for a cream shadow. It is a little bit powdery, but I really don't care about that because I get a nice even layer of cream, like neutralization on my eyes, and it really helps me blend. So I'm really happy to have come across this because I think it's a really great cream shadow, and if you go through cream shadow like I do, this is a great way to help prevent yourself from panning all of the creams in all of your palettes and being able to have something that you can go to on a regular basis. Now we do have one product that I kind of have a love-hate relationship with, and that's the Revlon Color Stay Exactify Liquid Liner. This is one of those pizza wheel liners that came out after like MAC and some other high-end brands brought theirs out. I was not super big into it, but I, again, had a coupon at CVS, so I picked it up. I think that this is not the easiest way to apply eyeliner, but I love the way this looks on my eye after I get it applied. And not only do I like the way it looks, but it lasts through like a tsunami. It takes such a great deal of effort to get this product off. I had swatched it on my hand one time before I'd actually applied it, and it took me 2 days, showered twice, to get it off my hand. But yet when I use makeup remover, it's able to come off really easily. So it's super long-term and durable, but it's kind of a pain in the butt to put on my eyes. So I wanted to include it because I do like some of the effects of it, but it definitely is not like an everybody can use this kind of eyeliner. Okay, next up we have my foundation. I have actually a lot of drugstore foundations in my collection, but I recently came back across my CoverGirl True Blend Liquid Makeup. This, I really enjoy it. The packaging is awful. It does not pump out product really at all, and so you're constantly scraping it out. I so wish that they would fix that, but it is just a really nice coverage. It's not too heavy for me. I'm not someone who likes a full coverage foundation, but it lasts all day at the same time. Like, it just does a really nice job matching my skin. It almost looks like a second skin. I just can't say enough good things about this. I feel like they have a lot of colors in the range, which is nice. So I'll definitely keep purchasing this despite its jankety packaging. Something else I love that I have used so many of is the ColourPop concealer that they have. I wear the shade Light Neutral, and I use it underneath my eyes. I just like the way it looks. It is a relatively thicker or creamier type of concealer, but it just does a really nice job blending in. I set it with my Coty Airspun, which is another one of my favorites. I really like the two of these together, and once I'm done baking, it just lasts all day. I don't have any problems with it. I like the way it brightens my under eye area, so I definitely would recommend this. I know it's not in a drugstore, but it's cheaper than most drugstore concealers. So if you ever find yourself on ColourPop placing an order, definitely give this a try. Another makeup item that I really love comes from e.l.f. It's the Total Face Palette. I'm not sure if this comes in multiple shade ranges. It really is only catering, at least the one that I have, to a lighter skin tone. But I like it because it has a really nice bronzer, a decent highlighter in here, and then 2 different blush options. And I just feel like this complements my skin tone really well. I'm wearing this on my face today, and I really like the way it all kind of comes together and isn't too heavy or thick. It blends pretty easily. It stays on my face all day. So I definitely would recommend this. I know they make this in a blush palette version and a bronzer palette version, but I think this one is the most practical because you don't really need 4 blush shades or 4 bronzer shades to travel with or just to have on your everyday need. But this is kind of a 4-in-1, all-in-one type palette, and I just really enjoy it, so I would definitely recommend this. My last makeup item that I have is a recent discovery from Milani. I came across this over the summer. This is the Keep It Full Nourishing Lip Plumper in Luminoso. This, I tell you, is an exact color match for the MAC lip gloss in Nymphette. Now, performance-wise, they're a bit different. This fades off of my lips pretty quickly compared to the MAC one, but it's not as sticky. It also has like the largest doe foot applicator ever, which is a little ridiculous, but it's fine. I really enjoy this stuff. I was super happy to come across it. Will it replace me purchasing the MAC Nymphette? No, but I'll probably buy 2 of these before I repurchase the MAC one and switch it off that way because the color match is just so accurate. So if you like that gloss, give this one a try. All right, now let's go ahead and talk about some tools from the drugstore that I cannot live without. The first is the e.l.f. Daily Brush Cleaner. This stuff is hands down my favorite. It takes so little time to spray my brushes, wipe them on a face cloth, and then move on with my life. I deep clean my brushes once a week, but I definitely feel a lot better about not letting bacteria build up by having this every single day on my brushes. Since I switched over to these bigger sizes, I don't go through them as fast, which is lovely because I was having to buy them pretty frequently, but the formulation is great. I definitely would recommend this. I also would recommend from e.l.f. this little like foundation board, paddle, whatever you want to call this. I don't wear it on my wrist or on my hand. I typically just rest it on my vanity, but this has made mixing foundations so much easier. It has also helped with a lot of my non-pump based foundations, squeezing it out over here and not wasting as much on my hand or anything like that. It's also not as messy. It seems like a really small thing, but it makes a big difference in my routine. And so I definitely recommend spending the, I think like $3 for this because it's totally worth it. I also have a makeup sponge. This is a sponge from Morphe. I know you can't get Morphe at the drugstore, but you can get them at Ulta, and I'm pretty sure this sponge was $7, and I really like it. So the texture of this, or the way it operates, it kind of is like the child of a Beauty Blender and a Real Techniques mashed together. To me, I find it better texture than Real Techniques, but not as absorbent and porous as the Beauty Blender, so it doesn't suck up as much product. I really just like the way this builds product on my skin. I think it's a really durable sponge as well. I've been using it for about a month, and aside from like some discoloration, you can't really tell that I've used it. It's held up really well. I will admit I haven't really exercised the slanted size. This is meant for contouring. I think they might have another version of this, but when I was quickly like checking out in the aisle of doom, I saw this and I wanted to try it for a while. So I feel like I'd be curious to see what the other size or version looks like, but definitely get your hands on this. It's a great deal and I really have been enjoying it. So I'm not going to talk too much about like individual brushes per se, more just 2 brush lines that I really enjoyed. The first is from Wet n Wild. These were in a holiday kit last year that came out at Walgreens, and I was recently in my Walgreens and they brought out another version of this for this year's holiday. I had gotten, I want to say it was 10, I think it's 10 brushes in a kit for like $20, which is really inexpensive. And these 3 from that kit I use the most frequently. I use this to blend away my bake. I use this for highlight, and I use this for blush. They have some other ones in there that I use, but not as frequently. I would have paid $20 for that kit just for these 3. So I definitely recommend that if you're in the market for brushes, to not overlook that exclusive Walgreens Wet n Wild kit. They only sell these brushes individually on the Wet n Wild website, I believe, and they're a lot more expensive. I do think they're worth it. The white brush doesn't actually stay white, even when I actually will deep wash these. They always have been tinted, but I don't really care about that because the product itself has held up really well otherwise, and it applies product really great. So definitely recommend that. I would not overlook that kit, and I would jump on it really fast because it sold out last year. The other one that I'd recommend is Real Techniques. I'm not like a Real Techniques diehard, but I have found that these 3 Real Techniques brushes are my favorite. I have the setting brush and the angled highlighter brush. I basically use both of these for highlighter. Some highlighters that I have, I find that they do better digging in with this and applying a really heavy layer with. Other highlighters that don't require much effort to pick up product on, I use this type of brush for. Either way, they both work really well and they've held up phenomenally. I've used and abused these and they're great. The same goes for the Real Techniques blush brush that almost has like, It reminds me of like a rabbit's tail. I don't really know why, but it does. I go through a lot of phases where I switch between this one and my Wet n Wild one. I just really enjoy this blush brush. And like I said, I've had it for years and it's held up tremendously. So definitely recommend those two options from the drugstore. I'd probably go Wet n Wild first and then Real Techniques because Wet n Wild is even cheaper than Real Techniques. Whew, that was a lot of products, a lot of things that we talked about, but I hope this gives you some great options for when you're perusing your drugstore. I definitely also recommend really trying to explore all the CVS deals and coupons that they offer through their app. If you're not a member of their rewards program, it really does pay for itself. I have saved hundreds of dollars on makeup and household cleaners because of that program, and they just make couponing really easy there. But if you have any questions or any other recommendations for me for the drugstore, let me know down below in the comments, and I'll talk to you in my next video real soon. Bye.